Hello, heroes of the internet. I'm Jamie. Let's hang out and watch episode 13 of Freerun, an aversion to one's own kind. Hey everybody, I am glad you're here watching this with me. Thoughts about the episode, an aversion to one's own kind. So that could be, again, about pretty much anybody that we know. I think that could be potentially about Freerun. Having to do with elves. It could be about Stark because, as we saw in that last episode, other than his brother, everybody in that village didn't necessarily treat him well. I know we didn't necessarily see everybody's interaction with him, but it was implied. Fern, less sure about that, but we have had the interesting debates about our mana and the concealment of it. Are we proud of that? It does make us love magic a little bit less. Could be getting a new character eventually. I was wrong about Craft. I don't know why I thought he was in it. I guess maybe I was getting him and Stoltz, I believe is the name, mixed up, which we should do a quick Google Translate and see what those names are. Not just his, but the other ones from previous episodes. Linny is Line. Not quite sure. Very direct, I don't know. Draught is Wire, which I guess makes sense with the weapon that he had used. I don't think I've ever done Fern, so actually, that sounds weird. Let's put that in. It means remote. Okay, interesting. Because maybe she started off kind of feeling that way, but I'd say for the most part, she's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of the heart of the group and keeping everybody together, but maybe it's when you're with other people and you feel alone still, maybe that's going on, but I feel like that's not the case. She's making connections. And as I said in, 2 episodes ago, she had made a connection with Craft as well, even though, again, he's just a passing person, elf. And now for the name that I actually intended to put in here, we're doing Stoltz, which is proud. Okay, I like that. Is it that he is prideful, which isn't always a good thing, but can be? Or is it just that he's proud of Stark in this case? Is it... I don't know. I think, as with most things in life, if you have moderation for whatever it is, that's where you want it to be. I know it's the extremes that tend to stand out to most people, and those are the things that tend to stick in our minds, but I think most people tend to be happier in more of that average area. So I had some thoughts that I didn't get out in the outro from the last video, and I know I had that big tangent, and if those themes come up again, I do want to cover those topics, because I don't think I fully explained them as well as I had wanted to, in essence of like the life is suffering. It's like life has suffering, but we want to make it so what we're working towards is almost not seen as suffering, because those are the things that are driving us, that give us passion. So hopefully those come up again and I'll re-explain it, and hopefully it comes across a little bit more hopeful and realistic than how I had initially put it. I had also written down that Stark was still doubting himself, but realized Eisen was giving him the stakes this whole time, which goes to show that Eisen had actually thought of him as a hardworking warrior. And so I think it just is going to slowly bolster him up underneath, so that way he can gain more confidence, which is what I've been wanting for him this whole time, because it really is a big mindset thing where, like, our optimism, pessimism, where do we fall? We kind of have to learn to train our brains to kind of look for the exceptions. It's not always good to be an optimist, right? But I think more often than not it is. And you have a lot more resiliency, more drive, those kinds of things, if you can have that optimistic, explanatory style. But it's not always a bad thing to have a pessimistic or maybe more realistic style as well. But I did see a thing where it's actually better to have more of an optimistic than even a realistic style for how we see our lives, because it just helps kind of move you forward through life in a more pleasurable, happier way. And what's wrong with that, as long as you're not hurting anybody and you self-reflect, as I've talked about a billion times. Could debate this topic for a very long time. And not everyone's going to agree with me, but it's just how I personally feel, and also a lot of like the research I have done seems to point in that direction. So, but I always advocate for more of that realism, slightly optimistic side of things. I had also written down small villages in remote places are important, because when we had come across, like, thank goodness we have come across all of these remote villages and towns and castles and that kind of stuff, because without them, we would be SOL. And it's also really cool to think about these places. I'm just thinking of places a lot further north than where I am. It's, remote, it's cold, frigid, it's maybe even desolate in some ways, but they have their own cultures, they have an independence of sorts that we do not have. The culture, the skills that they've had to develop, essentially. And I think we need those elements in life, and maybe, as I was talking about moderation previously, it'd be good if we could have more of those elements in more of a city atmosphere, and maybe they can draw on the things that we can provide for them if they are willing and wanting for, like, electricity and certain types of food that they can't naturally grow, all that kind of stuff. Also, I was a little confused, but picked it up pretty much as soon as I watched the episode back of like the 50 years versus 80 years that Freeland had shown up later than she had said, but it worked out in the end, and she'll hopefully be on time next time. As you can see, I'm trying to start to build that cozy background aesthetic. I need more lighting, and the candles and stuff, don't worry, they're not real candles. I'm slowly working on it. I just don't have a ton of cash flow right now. Slowly working on that so I can also edit more videos, because I have a backlog of things that I want to put up. But yeah, I want to get some more decorations for back there just to help with that aesthetic, with the rebrand. Hopefully you guys are liking it. And yeah, along with that, just going back to my normal panda, hoping to get some more comfy things to wear as well, though of course I'm still gonna doll up from time to time. This video is for commentary and discussion purposes. All rights belong to the original creator, so please support the official release. As a quick note, it's gonna look a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, because I had to switch to Netflix because Crunchyroll's down right now. So it's gonna look a little bit different, so I apologize for that. But all right, it is time. So grab a snack, get settled in, and let's watch this episode.
そうか。お前は冒険者なのか。
Heck yeah, we are. When did this take
昔、
place?
冒険者に憧れていた。
I like his uniform.
ガキの頃のくだらない夢だ。
Interesting cold open. There was a new character, had a nice uniform. His message was funny of, when we're younger, our dreams, we tend to dream big, but those dreams tend to fall flat because we're just so ambitious and maybe take on too much at once. All right, so I'm going to try my best to pay attention to the section near the end of the intro to see if there's any characters that I just wasn't cluing into. Because again, I could have swore Craft was in there, but I don't know. I still love that. Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, that looked like Craft. And then we had Stoltz, and then I missed. So there was somebody smoking. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. I saw that they had put out the second season for Freerun, so maybe we're not getting anyone new yet, because that was our past. This is our present, so with Fern and Stark. And then, of course, the party from before. All right, so we don't have titles. Foolhardy. I mean, he's got a cool look. Some people value stability more
昔の話
so.
だ。今でも後悔しているよ。
Is he still alive? Also, where are we?
俺の村は収穫祭が近くてな。
Like, I know where we are, but where's, like, Fern and Stark?
あ、
Uh-oh.
底なし沼にはまっちまった。
Well, you're very calm.
おしまいだ。でも、
Can you take my hand?
何かが変わるかもしれないぜ。
ちょっと待ってね。
I'm pretty sure you just need to, like, slowly get your one part out, and then you have to get more flat.
何かある？
手が汚い。
Wipe it on your top part.
大人ってのは汚いもんなんだぜ。
Kids are too.
のは初めてかも。もう少し時間いいから引っこ抜く魔法思い出すから。
なるべく早くね。
Just don't move. Oh, Fern.
薬草集まりましたか？
Come on, Fern, you got this. Okay. I mean, you could lift Stark last time.
俺はここでいいよ。
フリーレン様がご迷惑をおか
Hmm.
いえ、私からきつく言っておきます。
That's funny. My night off.
に大きめの町に行きたいんだよね。
そうか。
Again, if you go around helping people, they should give you supplies.
ここら辺は危険な毒性生物が多いから。
Feel like he could give you some for saving his life. Okay. I mean, it's cute though.
噛まれちゃった。
噛まれた
I learned you're not actually supposed to suck the venom out or do a tourniquet.
あれ、
Uh-oh.
なんか鼻血出てきた。
You're supposed to not move, and you're supposed to put whatever the thing is to hold your
得意じゃ
stuff in
ないんだ
place.
よね。知らない反応だし。
Hmm.
飛行魔法、あとどのくらい使える？
Hmm. Flying magic.
気が大きいので30分が限度ですね。
Hmm. Yep. I forgot you have to kind of build it up.
大げさだな。大丈夫だって。
Mm-hmm.
なんとかなるって師匠も言っていたぜ。
Uh-huh.
前って竜を混沌させるほどの猛毒の矢を受けても
Well, that's good. Do I trust it
フ
though?
ァイターがドン引きしていドン引きしている時点でおかしいのはアイゼン様だと思います。
I kind of agree.
死因の2割は毒だそうです。
Hmm.
急ぎましょう。
Nature, poison. That's fun. Well, this town or village better be able to help you out.
数時間後には脳が溶け始め、鼻から全部流れ出て。
Lovely.
すごく怖い。
本来なら初期の段階でしか対処できませんが、
I mean,
私の弟ならあるいは
who's your bro?
兄
Okay.
貴、ちょっといいか。
The one who smokes?
それよりもザイン、
Yes, please
この
be a
方
little
を見
bit
ておきな
more
さい。
speedy about this.
兄貴、こいつらだよ。
Expedited.
なんだ、蛇にでも噛まれたか。
I mean, he did warn you, yeah. Oh.
じゃ、これでチャラだな。
That was easy. I need more of an explanation there.
どう思われますか、弟。
Priest.
かけている聖員。生徒から地方で最も優れている司祭に与えられるものだ。
Wow. I guess that's good to have.
ギスパートが不治と判断した毒を一瞬で治療した。
I was gonna say.
ダー様から聞かされておりましたので。
Again, it's nice to see where everyone's been and who they've interacted with.
ザインの際は私の日ではない。
Sign. Blood
それ一
flute.
つで年の離れたザインを育ててきました。
Hmm.
あの子は子供の頃、冒険者に
He
なり
was
たい
more
とよく言っ
adventurous.
ていた。
Yeah, exactly. Which we had learned, but
同じ毎日を繰り返すだけの平凡な村の僧侶には、
a road laid out in front of you.
あの子をこの村から連れ出してやってはくれませんか。
Hmm.
あの子はずっと背中を押し
I
てくれ
didn't
る
see him in
誰
our
かを
intro,
探
as
して
I
いるん
pointed
です。
out, so I think maybe he'll choose to stay.
病むようなことじゃねえだろ。
うん
She likes to take her time.
鼻から出そうになる経験はごめんだぜ。
確かにここか
An
ら先は
aversion to one's own kind.
同族嫌悪かな。
What do you mean?
とにかく、俺一人でも勧誘しに行くぜ。
Hmm? Not a democracy?
ザイン様はいつもこの下の酒場に入り浸っているそうです。
An aversion to one's own kind. Yeah, curious.
酒、
He doesn't look like
タ
an
バ
elf,
コ。
and priest is different than mage.
さすがに生臭すぎないかな。
深めてるんだ。小僧もやるか。
Ah, there's the cigarette.
僧侶を探しているんだ。仲間にならないか？
I mean, he said,
なんだろう。俺はこの村の僧侶だ。
and you have done well.
いや、それも一興か。
What?
誰か、俺に勝てたら仲間になってやる。
Okay.
ええ、本当だ。
Why is it that all priests have a mischievous side?
悲鳴のような声が。
I feel for Fern. Okay, thank goodness.
身ぐるみ剥がされてる。
Hmm.
どい、誰がこんな。
悪く思う。
I mean, he did it to himself. Kind of. Why? You're also.
汚いもんなんだぜ。
身ぐるみ剥がされてる。
I mean, he has a nice body.
仲間探してんだってな。
Yeah.
他を当たれ。
Hmm.
あさらだよ。俺はもっと早くあいつを追いかけるべきだったんだ。
Is it too late?
ここにいるのは落ちぶれたパンツ一丁のおっさんだ。
Mm. Whose fault is that?
フリーレン、僕たちと一緒に魔王を倒そう。
This is where we were that last few episodes ago.
500年以上魔族との実践はやってない。
Well, you gotta take one step then.
どうしたフリーレン？
私は今の話をしている。
Yeah. Is that what he said? Or something he would say?
今のでよくわかった。
I wonder if she said that, like,
ザインの
please.
こと嫌い。
Mm.
そうかい。だったら、
だから意地でも仲間に誘うことにした。
Wow. Okay.
なんでわけわかんなす。
Very thoughtful, Fern.
ありがとう。あったかい。
You could have just gone back to the room.
ザイも近いし、ゆっくりしていけって。
Lucky or they want you to buy a
思
lot.
ってました。
悲しい。
Fair.
奥様、来てください。
なにその汚いものつまむよ。
一体何をしたって言うんだ。
Self-reflect, my dudes.
怒っているんだよ。
やったのは俺じゃな。
Yeah, thank you for
何
showing
度もする
us.
人は最低です。
No, maybe
ご
not.
めんよ。
Okay. I was hoping we get to see.
ザイン様は僧侶なのに。酒を飲む
You knew
僧侶。
Hider.
リーレン様、酒は百薬の長なんですよ。ハイターね。
Mm.
今冒険者になるべきだと思うよ。今背中を押してみるのもいいと思ったんだよ。
Help others
じゃあヒンメルがそうしたように。
can sometimes help ourselves. Give us a different kind of purpose.
あの日以来、毎日のよ。
Mm. You have to look and
目
see
さ
what
せようと努力しても。
Fern beat them up.
3年後の収穫祭までには戻る。
Mm. I hope he does come back.
次の冒険は一緒に行こうぜ。
Maybe he was holding out to go with him.
そうですね。酒にタバコにギャンブルに。
Great.
あいつ本当に僧侶なの？
やはりハイター様は
Yeah. Fern.
のお姉さんが好きですね。
上のお姉さんか。
I mean, you're technically.
兄貴、新しい鎌だけど小さくない？
Why do you keep having small things?
またお前らか。
Just shuts the door.
ザイン、年上のお姉さんと旅
そのためにガキの頃の俺は冒険者を目指したんだぜ。
Interesting.
お姉さんはどこなの？
そうだよ、ザイン。私はエルフだ。
I love her pose.
年上のお姉さんだよ。
I mean, she doesn't look like it though.
そんなこと言ってたっけ？
So I wonder what he's into specifically. Factually old or looking old?
お姉さんじゃない。
すごく辛そう。仕方がない。
Everybody's got their types.
はしたくなかったけれども。
I'm curious.
チュッ。
Oh, okay. That was pretty cute. It's gonna be ineffective, but it was cute.
何それ？
投げキッスだよ。
She sounded so smug. Sunny.
エッチすぎる。
Oh my
なんなの
gosh.
お前ら。
They haven't seen that side of her, I
失
guess.
神するほどの威力だったのに。
ヒンメル。
I mean, it was out of his mouth, not his nose, so I don't know.
私も直撃を食らっていたら危ないところでした。
くしゃってわけか。ようできたぜ。
I guess so.
冒険者になるつもりはない。兄貴ならわかるだろ
I don't.
う。年後には帰ってくると言ったんだ。
That part I knew.
あれから10年も経った。
Ah,
エルに決まったんだろうが。
so fear of finding out for sure.
たの10年だよ。今会いに行かないとち。
Hmm.
私は今の話をしているんだよ。ザイ
Mm-hmm.
で村を出るだなんて。そんなことできるわけねえだろ
I mean,
何を言っているんだ、ザイン。
yeah.
う。ダー様が生徒から視察に来た時、消えちまったんだ。
But he stayed back.
ハイター様、その場合、弟は
Yeah.
もちろん生徒へ。
そうですか。
Is it for the same reason? He wanted to make sure he could be here if his friend returned?
幼くして両親を失っています。
Hmm.
故郷まで奪うことはできません。
I mean, that's really selfless of him.
兄貴は俺のためにこの村に残ったんだぞ。
Why are you only bringing this up now?
お前と私を一緒にするな。木の選択を一度だって後悔したことはない。それに比べてお前は
I don't condone the violence, but I get it. Ultimately, he cares about his brother, so he's mad that he took on this for himself without communicating. But in a way, it goes the other way too. And that's not the way to get your point across.
だけどな。優しい兄貴なんだ。ことなんかなかった。どんな兄貴に殴らせちまった。
It's making decisions for other people.
俺、冒険者になることにしたよ。
Wow.
だ10年しか経ってねえしな。
そう。
Play it off as cool.
俺の旅の目的は、あいつを探すことだ。 お前たちの旅の目的は何なんだ？
天国。
Mm.
ママも行けるんですか？
なんかあの子、
一緒に頑張ろうな。
Yeah, at least he's not alone.
マジで何なの？
I know it's not actually different, but the ending sounds a little different to me. On Netflix versus Crunchyroll. Alrighty, so had some more thoughts. So I guess we can look up his name. So I looked up his name for the translation. It's just B. B-E. So, interesting. I wrote down that dreams can fade as we age because we tend to become more aware of our limitations, and life, it's not all happiness and rainbows and people maybe trying to protect us. I know not everybody grows up with that, but in an ideal world, as kids, we wouldn't be exposed to those more negative aspects of life. I think it's still good to have some realism, as we've talked about earlier, but it doesn't have to be doom and gloom and here's your reality. Life is hard, because we will get enough of that as we age for various reasons, but that's why, again, our mentality and our perspective is very important to be aware of and to try and be more realistic and counter those negative sides. But I wrote that dreams can fade as we age just because it sounded like his had, but it sounds like it was more out of a fear of getting a concrete answer to his fear of, is my friend actually okay or not? And a lot of the time we tend to avoid things, whether that is through drinking or gambling or just literal avoidance, whenever we're feeling those unpleasant emotions. But oftentimes those unpleasant emotions are the things that we actually need to face. Otherwise, we're going to feel dysregulated and unhappy. And it's, according to his brother, he was essentially miserable and just not doing anything with his life. And yes, it was his brother's choice to stay there for Sign. Now I have a new name I need to go and watch the dub for. And I wrote down, is it too late? Because even though the quote that Freerun had was spot on, I think if you have the motivation, you have the ability, is it really ever too late to do something? Until your brain's not really there, even with physical limitations, people are still capable of doing amazing things and incredible things. So I feel like it's never really too late in that sense. I was reading a book and I can't remember the term that they had used, but they called it like a blank problem, because the example they had used was essentially like, how do I do this? But the way they had gone about explaining it is oftentimes they're asked questions because to the person asking the question, the answer isn't so simple because we're worried about upsetting other people or we're worried about XYZ. But from the other person's perspective, it's like, well, you're asking me a pretty basic question, or at least if it's not a basic question, it has a pretty basic answer. So it's like, how do I quit my job? How do I break up with my partner? And it's like, yes, there's lots of layers and there's history and things, but ultimately the answer is you just do it. And so I put for Scene, he has a pretty basic answer. It's like, you go, you have to find out what happened. I also had included what are his values, his long-term goals, because again, he was just drinking, gambling away. Yes, he was helping people on off and stuff, but he wasn't really feeling fulfilled in his life. And I think what I had talked about in the outro to the last video is we want to search for those problems that don't end up feeling like problems because it's what we're passionate about and it's what drives us. And so those problems aren't really problems anymore. And so with him, what are his values? Because right now he's feeling unfulfilled, he's feeling bored. Is that what you really want for the rest of your life? I would hope not, because otherwise what is the point? I will say though, to give it again that little dash of realism, like with his brother, it was a sticky situation. I think ultimately you could have made it work if you had gone and brought your brother to the city. It is that mindset, it is that, things do move on and you can make a good situation out of something, out of change, essentially. But we do have to realize in life that situations are very tricky. And so you do have to be realistic about what are the possible solutions. But I still think you're going to be more capable of things than you really think, especially when you are feeling low. It seems like things are a lot more limited, a lot more dire. Our brains like to play tricks on us and make us feel a lot worse, or be like, oh, I know what they're thinking. They must think I'm an idiot or something like that. But life is what you make it, even when it is really hard. And I think you need to have some self-compassion when there are limitations that are true limitations, and recognize that and say, I'm doing my best, because that's important. And I really like in these stories that there's a lot of sacrifice of others and self-compassion. Well, I guess not self-compassion, but compassion from others as well. I think that's highlighted really well. And then I wrote down goals intersect. I'm not quite sure what I had meant there, but I think it's just that his goal is to find his friend, but I think a long time ago when his friend had asked him to go on the adventures, it was like a goal to be an adventurer. So I think even though his goal now is to find his friend, he can still technically fulfill the other goal that he had, and there's probably other things, other mini goals that tend to accumulate with what he's doing now. So it's not always just about one goal. It can be about different goals that fulfill different parts of you. So I think that's pretty cool too. So if you enjoyed watching this with me, leaving a like just lets me know that you'd want to see more similar things like this in the future. And if you'd like to stick around, subscribe and let me know your thoughts on the episode. And if you want to hang out more as I work to improve, what I'm doing, but also my backdrop and everything else, then you can find me on Twitch, Discord, Instagram, over on the gaming channel, and everything's linked down below. But as always, thanks so much for sharing a little bit of your day with me, and I hope the rest of your day is a good one. Take care, and I'll see you around. Bye!